Now, what completely sucks is that I've been on vacation for over a week. I don't think I've did a video on this channel in a while. And now my voice is leaving. Guys, I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. Today we're going to talk about this fucked up autopsy report, which I haven't touched on when it comes to Debbie Collier. I'm going to say this again. Debbie Collier was murdered. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm thejbgunner. Let's get things going. Happy Monday, guys. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm thejbgunner, and this is Crime Time with thejbgunner. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to everybody that supports the channel, regardless of the method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do without you. So big shout out to every last one of you. We're actually going to take a break from Burger today. I'm excited about it. By the way, if you too want to support the channel, if you find value in my content, feel free to hit the links down below and support the channel. You can also find my other work, my political channel, my other live stream channel. It's not for all of you. If you guys lean a little bit to the left, it's probably not for you unless you can handle getting your feelings hurt, I guess. But anyway, we're going to jump right into this story because this story, in my opinion, confirms everything I've ever said. For you guys that do not know, I had a channel taken down recently and blah, blah, blah. It's actually what led to the creation of this Crime Time channel. I started to dive into true crime. I had always done news, but one of the stories, other than the Gabby Petito case that I was really interested in, was the Debbie Collier case, the Quentin Simon case, cases like this. Now, I did quite a bit, and maybe I'll release all them old videos. Maybe, maybe not, probably not. But I was very, very serious about my accusations towards Debbie Collier's daughter. And for you guys that do not remember, Debbie Collier was found about, I think it was 60 or 80 miles north of her home in Athens, Georgia. She was actually found closer to me, dead and burnt up in a wooded area. She was seen on camera going into a dollar store and buying a few little goods. And it was, to me, it was obvious she was going to meet someone. She had sent a Venmo, they said, to her daughter, which was about $2,300, the exact amount, pretty much, that her boyfriend needed to pay for his probation. Who, by the way, the daughter and the boyfriend had just came into town literally the day before. So to me, it makes no sense why Amanda Bearden was not the number one suspect. A lot of you guys criticize me for naming her the number one suspect. There's just no doubt about it. Her and her boyfriend, Andrew Geigrick, were dope fiends. And you guys know how I feel about dope fiends. I feel like dope fiends are at the root of all of this type of shit. When you have money involved, you have dope fiends involved, typically you have death involved. But we're going to get into this because the autopsy last year was done, and they said that she died by suicide. I called bullshit then, but now the report is out, and it makes zero sense. We're going to go ahead and take a look real quick. We're going to slide on over here. God, I'm big as fuck right now. There you go. But what I want to do is I actually want to lead you right here. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at this, and I'll come back.
New developments tonight in the death of Debbie Collier. Her burning death was ruled a suicide last year, but a newly released autopsy report shows Collier suffered much more serious burns than just charring, as previously reported by investigators. Sources say the 59-year-old Athens woman died from inhalation of superheated gases and
none of that makes sense. None of it makes sense.
Intoxication.
So she just took, so she was just hydrocodoned up. What's that, the generic Vicodin? Is that what it is? So she was just on Vicodin, setting herself on fire, is what they're claiming, right? Let's go ahead and continue. Hold on.
Report reveals Collier suffered second and third degree burns to 80% of her body.
80%. Let that sink in. 80% of her body. When they initially reported this, the autopsy reveals that burns were to 80% of her body. No explanation at all of said suicide. Georgia office worker Debbie Collier's body was 80% burned when she was found in a ravine 60 miles from her home, according to an autopsy report. The report done by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and obtained by the Post through a public records request, excuse me, raises more questions about Collier's shocking death, which was ultimately ruled a suicide. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Here's what I think. Collier, by the way, she had just sent her daughter, Amanda, a Venmo payment of $23.85 with a chilling message that said, "They're not going to let me go. Love you." Her body was found in a ravine the next day in a wooded area in Habersham County, more than an hour north of Athens, Georgia, home. They said that it was a suicide. Now, look. I personally do not think there's like some grand conspiracy. I don't believe Debbie Collier was like a notable person other than to the people that knew her, right? However, I do believe sometimes that law enforcement and the police and even the GBI, I believe that these people get lazy. And when they couldn't pinpoint it and say, for whatever reason, they couldn't say Amanda Bearden, because maybe Amanda Bearden, her boyfriend, maybe they were able to cover it up well to where there was no evidence linking them to the crime. Maybe they didn't do it at all. But the point of this is, in my honest opinion, with this case, we have a situation, like many of these cases, where law enforcement just was like, all right, let's just say something. You see what I'm saying? We got to give them an answer. We got to give the family an answer. We got to give the public an answer. It doesn't have to necessarily be a major conspiracy. But I think in cases like this, it clearly is something. Like, and I'm going to show you even more why here in just a second. In fact, we're going to go back here. Man, I'm too damn big here. Let's go ahead and move this over here. Yeah, I don't like being that damn big in the shot. Anyways, if you take a look at this, famed pathologist Dr. Baden believes Debbie Collier's autopsy implies murder. It says famed forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden believes that Georgia mom Debbie Collier was likely murdered and didn't kill herself as the authorities claim, and I agree completely. The former New York City chief medical examiner says autopsy reports raises significant questions about how law enforcement came to believe she died by suicide, namely because the report notes she inhaled no soot or carbon monoxide. That is the point. So I want you to understand, and let me explain to you what that means. 80% of her body was burnt. She inhaled no soot or carbon monoxide at all, which means she was set on fire after her death. I don't see how anybody in any way could potentially say this is a suicide. They're saying that it was just a spontaneous combustible situation with the fucking gasoline can after she died. I don't understand how any true investigator of any point, of any rank, any position, any organization can look at a woman burned down 80% of her body after she died and said that's a suicide. Because the question is, how the fuck did she get burnt up after she died? Some sort of accident? Is that what they're claiming? And I listen, I've known people on Vicodins and shit like that. I ain't never seen them kill themselves and then they just set themselves on fire after they die. And none of it makes any sense at all. It says, from a forensic point of view, that would indicate that she was dead before the fire started. Before the fire started. Baden told the Post Tuesday, saying soot and carbon monoxide are present 99% of the time when people die in a fire, especially in immolation, self-immolation. The autopsy report obtained by the Post and provided to Baden for review claims that Collier died from inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, and a hydrocodone intoxication, and speculates she died in a flash fire due to the presence of a nearby gas can. But the gas can wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, Collier was reported missing on September 10th, sent her daughter Amanda a payment. We all know about all of this. We went through this entire case. Baden said it would have to be severely windy to blow away any carbon monoxide, Baden said, which is unlikely given the densely wooded area of rural Habersham County. Exactly. Anybody that's been in the woods knows inside the woods, it's not until you reach a clearing is there a lot of wind. So I think the medical examiner doesn't understand what forensic pathology is, he said to the Post. Baden said the levels of hydrocodone in Collier's system were higher than therapeutic dose. It is impossible to tell what her tolerance for the drug, given that she had been prescribed the medication for a prolonged back injury. So it said a little less than half of the people would die from those levels. But if she did die of an overdose, the question of how the fire started remains. That is the point. So they're essentially saying that it's potential that she died from an overdose of hydrocodone, and then, but yet still from smoke inhalation or whatever the fuck they said. But there's no soot or in her body. Clearly, the fire was started after. It's just some flash explosion. Is that what the fuck they said? There's no way. There is absolutely no way. By the way, in case you didn't know, the docket. I don't know if you know who the docket is on Twitter. I assume most of you guys in the true crime community know. He does have the autopsy report up. I will put it in the bottom if you guys want to check it out. Something that intrigued me by this, though, I want you to see right here on the autopsy report. It says victim Debbie Collier. Subjects Steve Collier, Andrew Geidrick, Amanda Bearden. Now, I understand why Steve Collier would be on there. He's the husband. Why is Amanda Bearden and Andrew Geidrick's name as the subject for case individuals? Just kind of curious. Now, you may know something I don't know in response to this, but you can read this all right here. But basically, it's just saying that she was burnt over 80% of her body, and then there was no smoke, there was no soot or anything in her body. So basically, she was burnt 80% after she died. Now, I'm just going to ask you guys, what do you guys think about that? Is there any way fucking possible that Debbie Collier killed herself and set herself on fire after she... By the way, the gas can was not found. Let that sink in. The gas can was not found. And then would she do it? Why would she go to the dollar store and buy all these different little things, including tarps and all of this? Ask yourselves this. And then most importantly, why would she drive up 60 miles? Why would she put on her Georgia Bulldogs gear to watch college football that day and then drive up 60 miles, stop at McDonald's, get herself a burger and fries, go to the dollar store, pick up some goodies, drive back out to the wooded area, set herself on fire? Listen, man, it's one of two things. It's either her daughter with the money. The money thing throws me off. Or she was cheating on her husband and met up with somebody and he did her in. If that's the case, then she deserved it. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I'm curious what you guys think about this. Is there anybody here that believes this is still a suicide? And here's the problem with these cases, is if they're making errors like this or lying like this or covering up things like this, what else are they lying about? What else are they covering up? So that ties back into Kohlberger, right? You know, if they're so sure that this woman killed herself when clearly the evidence shows otherwise, maybe they're wrong about Kohlberger too, for all you people that think Kohlberger did it. You know, maybe they're just full of shit. Maybe our legal system is just fucked up. And listen, I'm pro-police. I'm a conservative. Of course I'm pro-police. But let's be honest here. They're prone to mistakes. They're prone to corruption. Same as everybody else. They're prone to lying, just like everybody else. And most importantly, just like you at your job, they're prone at kind of sweeping some shit under the rug so the boss don't see. And I think that's exactly what we're looking at when we're looking at this case. I know it's been a while, and this is probably my last Debbie Collier video. There's just not a lot of Kohlberger news today. There's just not. And there's no other real case. There's a couple cases I'm looking at. In fact, you guys, if you would, in the comments section, give me some other cases you want me to look at. You know, the Kohlberger news is drying up a little bit, but I mean, obviously I can go over some of the shit that News Nation said, but there's nothing. Listen, when it comes to Kohlberger, it's just people making assumptions and weird claims, right? There's really nothing there, not right now. But anyway, I do want to know your opinion on the Debbie Collier case. I still stand by my initial position that Amanda Bearden and or her boyfriend should be considered public suspect. They should be considered the top suspects in this case. But my final position is the same as my first. Debbie Collier did not commit suicide. She was murdered. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Guys, if you find my work valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Support the channel. No better time than now. Sorry, I'm sick and my voice is fucked up. Apologize for all that. I'll make it up to you guys as we go. Welcome to all the new subscribers to the channel. I love you all. I'm thejbgunner. This is Cryme Time. I'll see you tomorrow with your video. Tomorrow, may even go live in the morning. I'm looking at a couple different things. But in the comment section, let me know what cases you want me to possibly comment on. There's a few out there I'm considering. But ultimately, let me know about Debbie Collier, what you think. Sorry about the voice. Sorry about the low energy. I'm not really low energy. I'm pumped up. But my voice just, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Hello. No, I'm trying. I can't really get it. All right. I love you guys. Peace out.